Snake going up against
man, don't detonate him. He wants. It's her Jett, bro.
I was talking to him for like an hour before this started, okay? I can't say the artist formerly known as Sensei. It's a Prince reference, Ubel. Just let me do it. You can't like knock off a commentator's segues and references. It's a golden rule. You know this. God, game one.
We're starting off strong here today.
Of top 8 for you all. We got RTS, a Cloud, who I do believe defeated Lemon Tea earlier in this bracket. That's a hell of a W to take, advancing on to winners semifinals, winners side top 8 of the bracket going on. And now he's got one of Tri-State's finest Snake players to get through in the meantime. But if you ask me, it seems like he's got a pretty decent character to go for it with.
Yeah, his playstyle so far has been really, really good to see as just a region that doesn't have as many like top quality clouds as some other regions. Like it's basically only that attends brackets frequently. Only really KGP who ends up representing Cloud as a consistent basis in the meta. But from what we've been seeing of RTS has been super, super good. Yet Sensei, excuse me, her Jett has always been the more CQC and like setup and read your defensive options type of Snake. So that's going to be a very different challenge if you're expecting a very grenade, trade-heavy Snake, like most of them tend to be.
Yeah, definitely a little less campy than some in the game. I remember a player who does not play Smash Ultimate anymore, a former PR member by the name of Wraith, back in the day, who played Snake back at Kingdom. Let's salutes to a fallen hero right now. Never beat him, but back in the day when I played more actively, Sensei was a little different because he's a little more active, fights in the CQC. Way better than he used to be, though, for sure. Has been an active member of the PR for quite a couple of times in his tenure in this game. Still hanging on to this first stock with already 2 minutes left on the clock. Going way up, be reversing that grenade to make it back down to the ledge. But Cloud, of course, does not have to move from that position. Beautiful patience coming out from RTS to get a quick little ledge drop.
Do you see that stick up in the center stage calling out the jump like that?
I didn't tell him to do it again.
I mean, he almost did with the call out on the platform. Her Jett's steadily trying to intercept a lot of this limit cloud nonsense, always trying to play into that positioning game, which then allows him to find stuff like rising neutralizers or dash attacks, something that allow him to like push Cloud into these corner-like positions, and doing so yet again with just the dash forward hold shield to call out the get-up attack.
There's so many different explosives coming in, actually baiting with the C4 running by the ledge and not even planting it down at this point. Good old little empty hop though, full hop. You gotta remember that stuff. You know, you spend so much mental energy like getting around the grenades, like thinking when should I explode them, like when should I grab them to throw back. Fighting the obstacle course that is Snake, that once you're up close, you gotta forget, you know, you're fighting somebody with fundies at the end of the day. Sometimes just the classic bread and butter stuff works. I'm just going to full hop and then just drop down and hit you with the kill move. Y'all know how it is. Y'all know how it goes. Beautiful pivot F-tilt on that tech chase right there to keep her Jett going. Going to eat a reverse F-tilt for the troubles, though, and a whole forward air to actually take the stock down. Wrong place, wrong time, Ubel.
I'll tell you, that was a pretty lazy jump in. Like, a lot of the times it feels like Snake will hold onto that grenade and let it sit in their hand for a little bit in order to give almost the illusion of safety. But when you've got a big sword like Cloud's, you can just swat that away, no problem whatsoever. I do want to see RTS try and play a little bit less around some of these tech chase setups that her Jett has been doing. There's been a lot of times where RTS will give her Jett a little bit more information than necessary. Oh, but catching him with the hold in DI on just that forward tilt one into the up tilt. I was also thinking that forward tilt one would send off of the platform, but good stuff on her Jett to. All right, this bit's run its course. Good stuff on Sensei just to get that game number one.
It's a good bet. It's the artist formerly known. I already said it 3 times already. You know, yeah, no, it's interesting because you would probably know this more than me. I mean, is that base knockback or set knockback that the first hit of F-tilt has?
Yeah.
I would imagine because it's designed to combo into the second hit. Yep. So I'm actually not too surprised that didn't launch off the platform, actually, though that mix-up does seem a little fake with going into the up tilt, but it's only fake. It's only fake after it works once. You know what I mean? So, like, it already worked once. Probably not going to fall for that again, but unfortunately for RTS, they did lose the game because of that. Game number 2, we're off to Battlefield, which is, a little cut and dry as far as a counter pick when it comes to Cloud. Of course, you would probably understand why they'd want to go to a stage. Safe pressure with the platforms. Also being able to juggle safely very easily on this stage because it's part of the win condition when you're fighting Snake, or, like, taking advantage of his disadvantage state, if that makes any sense. He uses Cypher to get back up and just make his way down a lot. Snake does that on pretty much every stage they're at. It's sort of his way of getting out of disadvantage. What's a stage that's going to be harder for him to do that on? Battlefield, where his landings are going to become a little more linear.
Always going to have a lot of benefits on this stage, but Snake does so as well, which makes it interesting. Ooh. But the charge on that up smash almost sending things straight off the top. RTS doing a solid job of playing with the platforms, but it's again those like tech chase or ledge scenarios where Sensei just has a beat on. I think he's positive. He has a positive percentage on landing up tilts out of tech chase and rolls, and that's dangerous if you're a Snake player, if you're against a Snake player.
Oh, absolutely. It's very dangerous indeed because you already spent so much like mental energy just dealing with the projectiles, but up close you forget. Snake is so good in tech chases, dash attack so strong, really good at getting F-tilt mix-up off of pivots on top of that as well. It's just, he's got a lot of options up close, man. It's part of the reason why Snake is still just a top tier, man. I believe it personally. Yeah. You know, there's still some debate onto that, but if Apollo Kage's taught us anything, it's that you can die off the top at 150% to cloud forward airs, as that just happened to her, Jett. Even stocks on stock number 2 for both players.
A couple tough trades there for Sensei, though. He's got to be a little bit careful with some of these grenade placements, but and excellently is there dropping the grenade that time and reading the air dodge. Just missing the ledge, but he's all right thanks to that double jump. RTS stuck in the corner here, but I love that patience in the corner when players show it off. Sometimes you don't have a ton of space to work with, but that doesn't mean you should get overly aggressive to try and take back what you don't have.
I actually like the way that RTS was playing at disadvantage there. Like, off the level, it stunted you too, like the way they went like under the stage first. I think they were actually timing out the grenade a little bit more. I don't think they wanted to be on the ledge at a certain time when it exploded. And that's a little risky because you could have like grabbed the ledge or gone past it because of Cloud's lack of snapping on ledge and gotten exploded by it. But that was then, this is now. Sensei takes the next stock right there as we advance further on into this.
You can't keep getting away with it.
You can't keep getting away with it. Her Jett can't get away with it. It's a Valorant thing, apparently. I learned that today.
Yeah, it's a Valorant thing.
It's a Valorant thing.
Just the one Valorant, you know?
I've literally never played it, so I'm the last person. I'm the last person to be able to judge. There's no Valorant characters in Smash, not yet. You know, thought the DLC was going to drop. But, an FPS rep would have actually been interesting, but that's a discussion for later. Anyway,
I can absolutely agree. Just like with this juggle, but like committing to Snake in disadvantage is so tough, especially to juggles like Cloud loves to do. You've got to be so patient in order to try and make sure you can time out or outspace some of these grenades. RTS trying to play the slow down game, putting that jump in there. And Sensei giving him a taste of his own medicine. Wow, he missed the up tilt.
Her Jett is landing a lot of nairs. It's like the second one I've seen, like in the last minute or so, and that's pretty laggy move when it comes to Snake on the end lag at the very least. It's risky, and that's the second time we've seen Sensei go for that bait, and the first time we've seen him land it. Actually, you actually saw him crawl up with the crouch, the crawl first enough to try to get the up tilt, but in neutral or just being stuffed into the corner, RTS wasn't falling for it. Jumping above though, in the Y-axis. Didn't expect him to do it again, and that's just what got him that time around. Just do the same mix-up while they're just in a different position. That's exactly what was going through her Jett's mind right there, and he's able to get it right there and look like we're not switching to Lucina. Okay, respect. Sticking it tried and true with the Cloud.
The trick with the switching there would be if you think you have a better ground game with an alternative character than you do right now. Because while Cloud does have a pretty solid on-the-ground game, thanks to things like cross-slash and down tilt being very solid moves, forward tilt, everything kind of stems around you jumping in with these big, safe aerials and playing around that as your win condition. And Sensei has proven multiple times over with like those nairs that you were calling out earlier in Tunis, that he's willing to catch RTS jumping and catch him with stock-taking moves in those jump-in habits with things like up tilt and the like. So I want to see RTS be a little bit more focused on, like, when in neutral, stay on the ground, find different means to approach, but jump away in disadvantage. And this should be a dead Cloud. Oh, just the one. You just need the one hit.
The Gimp with the first hit of down air, that was sick. I've never seen a Snake do that in my life. And that was like not risky, but it was just an interesting situation from her Jett, right? Because he jumped off to like he jumped off and already got the one hit. It just wasn't completely sure if Cloud was going to be able to make it back or not, and then just jumps off with that. I've literally never seen a Snake player use that move that way before. But yeah, with these neutral airs, it's just crazy because like that's not exactly a move that you just use with Snake willy-nilly. It's not like Grenade where you spam it over and over, cancel it as the uppy let me climb hazard going to take the stock.
That's the type of patience you really need here for RTS steadily bring yourself not just back into this game, because you're very well in this game, but back into this set, right? It feels like a lot of times her Jett has been able to like establish a good flow going for the games, and even if they are in very even scenarios, you're trying to establish yourself as a presence more than just in the matchup, but just in the set as a whole. Oh, no back airs here. A couple back airs from RTS though. Just trying to establish that pressure and establish that center stage, getting the best of that scramble. Let's see if he's able to close out the stock. No, the Cypher. Interrupting the best laid plans.
I want to see more back airs come out from the blonde-haired character instead of the secret agent guy, because that was a perfect opportunity to get a back air off that grenade. But as I say that, I feel like her Jett's getting really hungry with these nairs, because he is landing a lot, but there was 1 or 2 situations by the ledge where he did that instead of a back air, which could have worked out. Meanwhile, you could be poking with that back air with Cloud over and over again, but what you can also poke with is Limit on deck this time around. Might have to actually use it off the level, going up and above, trying to bait actually with the side B into the face, and Sensei not falling for it right in the face of that. Going to actually take the first stock instead, get rewarded with an up tilt for his troubles.
Many up tilts have been landing, and if you're landing your up tilt as Snake, you're oftentimes winning these sets, able to find these openings and catch a lot of the startup on it, specifically forward air. So, hey, it might be time for RTS to go back to basics and back to back airs.
Yeah, and it's rough with Cloud because like now you're behind, you're the one who's got to play the obstacle course against Snake, you know what I mean? Like in theory, like you're winning, you're the one who doesn't have to approach, and that's one way to bring a game back and get its tied stocks down to 1-1 once again. I was going to say, when you're down that much against Snake, it's very rough, because then on a stage like this, especially with the multiple platforms, the traps that Snake can make, when you're not the one who's doing the juggling, you actually have to fight Snake in between. It's rougher, but that down air is going to reverse the situation again, but another neutral air for his troubles again. There's just so much damage, Ubel.
Yeah, playing around with the sticky as well. Like, thankfully, RTS was able to avoid the up smash a little earlier, and playing this advantage state super well. Has to see Sensei go to the high recovery, landing the dash attack as well. RTS in a dominating position. Oh, I thought he was going to go for that limit, and so did Sensei, able to air dodge straight through it and get themselves back on the ground.
I saw it coming too. That was perfectly played. Like, was playing just outside the range of that C4 on the platform to try to bait him into detonating it. And then as soon as he did, forced him into lag and got him for it. But just narrowly was able to air dodge. Was her Jett over and over again out of disadvantage. It's a perfectly way to play, especially with how well RTS was playing in advantage there. Like you mentioned, like that was the one option he could have done, and it all came down to timing. Did it absolutely perfectly, but no timing you could do to get around that back air, as RTS is going to safely put himself on the board with that. Taking a game against Sensei. Very nicely done. The counter pick actually working out the second time around for RTS. Not necessarily in the way that he probably thought it would, but was able to get it done regardless. So very good stuff.
For sure. I mean, you're going to take that every day of the week when you see an air dodge missed and like, oh, you didn't go to ledge here, explode. But I like to see a lot of that from RTS of just like playing a more patient advantage, not giving yourself up into grenade trades so readily. Be ever present when you're playing against Snake, so that it's not just falling into the basics of the matchup and you actually start playing against the player and you start to notice some of these early habits. I'm just so perplexed by Sensei's like just full hop, drift in, like I'm gonna hit you now, and hey, forward air landed, so it's better than me.
Catches the grenade with the forward air as it's about to explode, and then essentially combos it with the grenade.
Yep.
Very sick.
Sure.
We're always seeing new stuff when it comes to Snake, and that's another thing that I love about spectating this character, as well as the small battlefield counter pick, which is definitely an interesting pick to say the least. I mean, the juggles are not going to be as strong as the back air stuffs out the limit. You look like you have some choice words to say about that.
Oh my lord, the fact that limit can sometimes so it starts on Cloud's horizontal and then grows from there.
Yeah.
So just Sensei lying flat with that back air and intercepting just by hitting the top of RTS's head, hitting Cloud in his blonde hair. That is super tough, as is this position for both players. The limit really close to being online, but he didn't expect the blade beam to land, which triggered the limit to grow. He was trying just to charge it up.
I hate when that happens.
but you get the back air anyway, and you get the stock lead here on small battlefield. Here in game number 4, RTS trying to build his way into a reverse 3-0, but it all starts by maintaining this lead right now, and 30% is a pretty good start.
Yeah, and you know what? We're on small battlefield this time, so like the physical layout on the x-axis is pretty much the same as far as that goes, but the lack of a top platform is going to make juggling Snake a little bit harder, as well as forcing yourself into disadvantageous states like that by hitting him when the grenade is out. Snake is going to have a lot more time in the air while he's holding that grenade to get out of disadvantage. There's a lot more room for him to reverse it out of disadvantage as well. As a result, if you're Cloud and you like to juggle, it's going to be a little more annoying hitting him out of disadvantage because you're going to hit him, the grenade's going to go off, and then it's just going to reset all over again. So like you mentioned, in this matchup, it's all about situational awareness even more than it is on a stage like Battlefield. You have to be very, very present when you're fighting a character like Snake, especially when you can't juggle him as easily for freely as you did on a stage like Battlefield.
Sensei started to get a little bit desperate here, and that up smash is only going to accelerate that process. We saw a big forward air attempt on the ledge there from Sensei, just trying to make sure that he can gimp Cloud at any opportunity. Here's another one, but choosing to pull grenade instead there, always being a little cautious. Oh, the sticky.
Yep. Do I go for a nair that time around? You know what I mean? Like, we hit him with it so many times in that situation, I have potential to get even more, but unfortunately that potential is going to be wasted. Shielding it with perfect timing is RTS, who's just doing such a wonderful job at negating Sensei's counter pick here. Just really doing a great job at picking and choosing his moments in between the C4 and the grenades. Not pressing too many buttons out of disadvantage to face the grenade, and with beautiful awareness, even more than her Jett in that moment, getting the finishing touch out of tech chase situations. We're going to game 5, Ubel.
That was just the longest, most pure, bona fide advantage string that you could have against Snake. And that's like how you draw it up, right? I put you off stage, or I put you above me, and I know you're going to press buttons like your fast fall air dodge, or your grenade, or some sort of like mix of everything that will be, that I have to be aware of when I'm pressing all my buttons. But it's just comes down to coverage, comes down to spacing, it comes down to that situational awareness that is so potent, and it's forcing Sensei to be like, all right, small battlefield didn't work at all. Time for the comfort picks, even if outside of matchup ideals, it's time for Smashville.
RTS said, I don't need no top platform. No. I don't need that to juggle you.
Nope.
I'll just hit you out of disadvantage. I'll just time it differently. That's all I'll do. I'll time it differently, and I'll just actually think before swinging when the grenade is down around. I don't need that carry to juggle you.
Arguably, he made it easier once going without that center space, and now you only have a center platform. Let's see if it makes a difference here, or if you're just going to continuously get put off stage again and again. That back air and the air dodge into the blast zone going to close it out there. Close out stock number 1 for RTS, and just keep on going.
Comboing the limit blade beam into the cross slash, into the normal cross slash. That was sick. Especially, I don't even think Sensei expected to be hit by that, because he got hit by that like as soon as his respawn invulnerability went away. I think he thought he still had it for a second, because he just was being really aggressive on the way back in, and as a result, he just ate so much damage. And now look at the insurance on Sensei's second stock right here. 162 and now gone on the part of RTS, but not without taking 88% on the second one. Sensei's got to figure out something in the second stock here.
Yeah, he's got to really build his way back up here. Has all of his resources, though, and able to get to the other side of the stage. Now significantly less on those resources, but I love the air dodge up there to platform. You just need any hit here if you're Sensei in order to start building yourself forward, whether it be a grenade into something like a nair, like that, exactly. But not the right hit of nair in order to not get the dash attack.
And I like the air dodge in on the part of RTS right there. So he recognizes that her Jett was getting a little desperate. He's going to not risk anything and going to go for the true stuff off of the dash attack. Instead, just going to air dodge right back in, because Sensei's been going for the mix-ups earlier, but not this time around.
Oh, he's playing around this as well as he can. The low profile, but that dash attack isn't going to do it. Wow, perfect DI from Sensei to get right into the very tip of that corner. Even the venue starting to get into it a little bit, watching how this set is unfold. A 180% Snake slowly but surely whittling their way back into this game. And Cloud had a little bit of soap bubble theory going on here. Nintunis, especially with a max range up tilt, taking things 111 after the hit, and Sensei storming their way back into control of this game.
This is what Snake can do, man. The character can literally and metaphorically explode on your stock, and this time around, Nickel and Diamond can sometimes be the way when it comes to Snake. Jett looking to take this right now, avoiding the upset with RTS right now. RTS doing a really good job moving up and down and around these platforms right there, but now you're going to wait to go below? No, beautiful job getting out of disadvantage by Sensei right there, going to the left side of the platform, left side of the stage, I should say, going for ledge instead of right to the platform where an easy cloud up smash can do it. But the ledge drop back here, platform drop back here, I should say, going to do it. We are going down to last stock, game 5 between these two players right now. This is a hell of a way to open up top 8.
Yeah, like, what better way to really set the tone for so many of these games we might be seeing a little bit later. But I think both of them have realized the position they're in too here, Nintunis, because it's just been all like grenade, pull, cook, toss, a lot of back air and blade beam, but the first damage on the board for this final stock is on to Sensei. Ooh, huge damage, and looking for the stock there too.
Way safer to air dodge in that time around than to not do anything and get hit by the forward air, because forward air, you're off stage, you can risk death at that point with an easy edge guard. You go in, it's just going to be a little more damage on Sensei. Kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't scenario, but he definitely picked the damned if you do instead.
Yeah, he's still out here thriving, looking for some of these empty hops. The grenade train will keep both players in a really awkward scramble, but Snake thrives in these scrambles, and you see how many grenades that Sensei has been pulling, just trying to just set up consistently. I love that reverse nair, though. God, this is so tenuous here in Nintunis. Or any little hit, especially with Limit Online, could seal the end for both players.
Oh boy. Risky, the grenade, going to mix it in, but not a good trade for Sensei. He's the one who winds up off the level, narrowly having to air dodge around and gets the blade beam instead, but it's going to wind up missing it, but a nice safe back air drifting in. That's going to do it. That's RTS taking the W over Jett, advancing to winners finals of Warped.